Today feels like a good day to talk about what is a legacy. How do we leave our legacy behind? And I'm using the example of Serena Williams. And before I even start talking, I want you to understand that I am looking at this from the perspective of a Latino woman. I am not a black woman, and that is why I'm including some comments that were left on this particular thread. I cannot speak for black women when I talk about legacy or who you marry or whatnot, but I know damn well how it feels like to be the child of two people who are, let's just say they were not exactly the same color? Anyway, if you're new here, my name is Roxana. This is Metamorphosis Rocks, and I would ask you to consider subscribing. There is a link tree on the bottom where you can find out all my information as well as the donations page for Alzheimer's disease. The picture that you see there is my mother. Without no further ado, let's talk about Serena Williams and what her legacy is. So the other day I was scrolling through Twitter as one does, and I found this little ditty about some person that's checkmarked. So, no big deal, but you know what I mean. And it says, Serena Williams' legacy would have been even more solidified if she married a black American man. And the second part of this thread was a picture of Serena's husband, which said Serena Williams' husband with an emoji that I do believe is doing a face palm. Needless to say, the replies were and I was very happy to see this, because every once in a while, because it has gotten so popular for celebrities to get their stands to defend them, sometimes you don't expect to see much in the way of legitimate defense of someone. But the answers on this particular thread were, I was clapping the entire time. I don't think it deserves a dramatic reading because I think this topic is a little bit more serious, so I'm just going to read them straight out. And the first one I found was, the black woman y'all love to call a man didn't marry one of you? Shaka. P.S. Mind your damn business and stop trying to mind black women's. The next tweet for her was, y'all always have opinions but can't handle when the energy is returned. And yes, she was blocked by the person who posted the original image. The next person said, sour grapes make vinegar, not wine. Her legacy has nothing to do with who she married. Who are you anyway? It's always ashy and a ninja emoji. I swear it costs you nothing to celebrate her happiness and legacy. And that's a beautiful picture of her wedding day. Imagine how pathetic it must feel to wake up every day as you and have thoughts like this. I can't. Serena Williams dated plenty of black men before she started dating her husband, but the black men blew it. She's already created her legacy. Where's your energy for Michael Jordan? With a picture of Michael Jordan and his, I guess that's his wife. Let me make something very clear. This is not about anybody marrying anybody, and I'll make the point later on. This I included just because I love this, and I'm gonna steal this because this is fantastic. When did I ask for this man's opinion? A mystery novel. Her husband is a billionaire. Go moisturize them ashy knuckles. I lost it when I saw that one too, with the salty. No one asked you, and she certainly doesn't need your advice. Love is love. She found her partner. She has love and happiness. Go touch grass and moisturize. I need to go back to this person's account just to check, because everybody is really, really bringing up the fact that this person needs to moisturize. Most annoying tweet of the day, and it ain't even noon yet. What about all the black male athletes married to non-black women whose, quote, legacy, end quote, you all admire? I think they're I think they're trying to minimize her by using a trivial detail that has nothing to do with her skill and achievements as an athlete. They can't. She earned everything before getting married. All the record-breaking wins, grand slams, serves, etc. All of it. Another poster wrote, why are you qualifying her legacy based on who she married? Her legacy was set before she even met her husband. Y'all don't put these caveats on black men. Serena dated many black men. Not one of those bums proposed or put a ring on her finger. Drake was a tease. Common dated her for nearly 5 years. When Serena was asked about marriage in an interview, Common ended things and ran. Some black men are not serious. And again, I included those comments because most of them were by black people, because I did not want to turn this video into a black people situation. I see it as something else. And being more than one way biracial, I think I have an opinion on this and I want to make it known. I can tell you that when I saw this, the first thing that came through my head was, why is it that women are always expected to follow some indistinct rule from some person that I have no idea who they are, and men are not put to the same expectations? I saw it as a woman first as a woman, second as a black woman, which means she comes from a marginalized community, but third as an athlete that happens to be a woman, that happens to be black. And all those things contribute to not having the same level of respect that is expected for her male counterparts. Here's the thing. Serena Williams had her own money, had her own business, had a fabulous tennis career. She was a black tennis player at a time where black tennis players were few and far between, where poor black tennis players were even less of a thing, because what you have to remember is that certain sports like tennis, in figure skating, I'm trying to think, but those are the two that come to mind first. Volleyball, in a sense. There are some sports, fencing is another one. Oh, I keep interrupting myself, sorry. There are some sports that are very much a rich person's sport. You will not see a lot of people that, at least not in my lifetime, you would not see a lot of people that were poor, broke, and definitely marginalized participating in those sports in the United States, because they just didn't have the money to afford the ability to go to a club and practice. You know, golf is one of those sports as well. A lot of people who made it in golf that did not have the money, the reason why they made it is because they started out as caddies and were able to play in the golf club after everybody was gone. In the case of the Williams sisters, it's because their father was very persistent. But there's a lot of people in sports, I don't care if they're black, white, Latino, from whatever, that the reason why they had it much harder than their counterparts is because of the barrier to entry, which is a fancy way of saying that you didn't have the money to afford the sport that you wanted to participate in. Now, other sports, it's a little different, because if you have talent, you can go to any basketball in any town. There's usually a town area where you have basketball courts where you can go for free. The same for football. You can play football at the beach for all you care, so long as you have a ball. And hey, I know a lot of people that started with things that did not look like a pigskin at all, and they made it because they had some talent, and they would practice with their friends, and eventually they got to school. And let's face it, public schools here have very good basketball and football teams, because the barrier to entry is not on your money, is on your skill and how much your teacher likes you sometimes, but most of the time on your skill. So the reason why I brought this up is because I find it incredibly interesting how this particular person, because I'm not going to say all men do this, but many men do this, seems to think that Serena's legacy has anything to do with who she's involved with. I mean, she's married, but that's not true for other people. And for some reason, we always seem to think this is another layer to this whole thing. It's not just that she's a woman. It's not just that she's black. It's not just that she's an athlete. It's the fact that in many circles, and this goes beyond the color of your skin, there is an entire subset of men who happen to think that the only way a woman can leave some sort of legacy is based on who she's married to. Number one, she has to be married. That's another thing for another day, but she has to be married. Because if she's single, she's worthless. And number two, that she has to be married to the guy with the right pedigree, which means in the case of a black woman, she should have married a black man. Now, I don't know why, but the name Nick Cannon comes to mind when it comes to men. Another name that comes to mind is Chris Brown, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. You know, just because he's black doesn't mean he's a good guy, or he's a decent guy, or he's a man that you want to marry. Because not everybody that I just mentioned is a bad person. They just not exactly marriage material. It is what it is. There's a lot of fantastic examples of black men that I can choose from. Denzel Washington comes to mind. And yeah, I know this is going to be a controversial decision, but Will Smith comes to mind. But there's a lot of really messy black men out there. And by the way, that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of white men who are messy, because, oh my God, they're even worse. The bottom line is this. Who you're with has nothing to do with what you do with your life. You can have the best support system and not accomplish anything with your life, and I've seen it really way too many times. You can have the worst support system and go to the top of the hill. It really doesn't matter. But to men like this guy right here, Oprah Winfrey, for example, will not have a great legacy because she never got married. She is with a black man, but if she and her beau decided to break up and she started dating a white man, this man would have a fit. You need to settle down and marry already. Never mind the fact that Oprah is way past the time when she was, expected to get married. And yes, she used to get that a lot. But to men like this, it doesn't matter what we do or what we accomplish if we're not with a man. I really can't wait to hear what y'all have to say. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for my patrons. For some reason, I keep forgetting to thank my patrons. I do post it. I just forget to say it. And if you find it in your heart, give us a subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.